Hello vinyl community, Alex back again with another video. It's been a while and I'm sorry I didn't do my usual end of the year videos, my top 10 albums of 2021, my best finds of 2021. I was going to do what I've spun most in 2021, but I kind of never got around to doing any of them videos. Um, just had a lot going on during December. So I never actually got a chance to film those videos. However, I'm now going to sit down and I'm going to do two videos for you guys. I don't know what order you're going to see these in, but just know that I do have a couple of really awesome videos here to show you. Um, so as you can tell from the title, this is my vinyl finds for the month of December. There's obviously Christmas presents in here and stuff, so just bear in mind that's why there is a lot here. But before I get into it, I do want to make a quick shout to some changes that are coming to the channel. My vinyl finds are going to slow down quite drastically because in June I'm getting married to Jenny, who's normally in the background of a lot of my videos. She's in the living room at the moment. But yeah, we're getting married in June, so that is why my vinyl finds are going to slow down, because any money we get from here on out is going to go towards that. In addition, I'm also going to try and do some other non-vinyl find related videos, because I feel like that's all I ever do on the channel nowadays. So I'm going to try and, do top 10s and, you know, maybe some album reviews if you guys love it, would like that, or whatever. Final finds will still happen, but just so you know, they're not going to be monthly. I might do like every couple of months or every 3 months or whatever, or whenever I get a big enough stack. But they're not going to be as regular as they are now. So if you guys do want to see any videos, just let me, or any particular videos, just let me know down in the comments. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. But also going back to what I said at the beginning, I didn't. I was going to do a top 10 of 2021 albums video, but I didn't. I bought one new release in 2021 on vinyl. So I like to show the physical media, but I think it'd be a bit of a boring video if I didn't have the physical media to show and I just put a picture up on the screen. I don't like doing that. So I'm not going to do my top 10 of 2021. But if you do want to know my list, I'll leave it in the my top 10 albums. I'll leave it in the description down below, just so you guys can see that. I still might get around to doing my top 10 pickups of 2021 and my most spun albums of 2021, but we'll see how time goes on. So anyway, I'm digressing here. We're nearly 4 minutes in and I still haven't shown you any vinyl, so let's get into this before you guys get bored and click off the video. So I'm going to start off with some 12-inch singles. First of all, the EP for Buck Wild, from Buck Wild, Still Digging Composition. This is debut EP from 1998, I believe. Yeah, 1998. And this was like the last, his really early stuff. There's some more boom bappy stuff compared to what he normally does. But it's, I think it's privately released or private pressed or something, because there's no particular label on it or anything like that. So yeah, really nice boom bap hip hop there. Great track or EP. It's technically an EP. It's got four tracks on it. Each track does come with an instrumental of it as well, which is good. So yeah, there's Buck Wild's Still Digging Composition. Belinda Carlisle, Heaven is a Place on Earth. I assume you guys know this one. no secrets there. Gus Gus VIP. This is actually a house tune, which I don't buy a lot of house music, but this is one that I listened to and actually really dug it. So that one came home with me from the shop. And then Venus by Bananarama, which is actually a dub version of Venus, and White Train, also by Bananarama. It's a reissue on the London Recordings label. They do a lot of like DJ friendly reissues. I have a couple on this label, but it's nice to have Venus on a 12-inch because I don't see that track ever. I think I've gone on a 7-inch somewhere, but I have no idea where it is. Oh, and Akon, Lonely, which also leads me into my vinyl finds from the December record fair, the last record fair of the year. I didn't buy a whole lot. I think I bought 4 albums, 3 albums in this 12-inch. There really wasn't a lot there this time around. But yeah, Lonely by Akon, one of my favorite Akon tracks. I really like Akon music, but you just don't see his 12s around a lot. Yeah, not my favorite song from him, but one I still really like. So obviously had to grab that. The OJ's Identify Yourself. You guys may or may not know Philadelphia International is my favorite record label, so anything on that label I'm going to grab it. This is on that label. It's from 79, so it's one of the last albums they would have done on the Philadelphia International Records label, but still a good album. I don't think that label has anything bad on it. But yeah. Rewind by the Rolling Stones. This is a compilation from the Rolling Stones that covers my favourite time period for them, which is the years 1971 right up to 1984. I love 80s Stones a lot more than 70s and even 60s Stones, which a lot of people, it surprises a lot of people, but I do prefer the 80s Rolling Stones, and there's a lot of stuff on here. Undercover of the Night, Start Me Up is on here, Hang Fire, Waiting for a Friend, Emotional Rescue. Yeah, just a brilliant compilation there of the Rolling Stones, and one that I actually really like. So there it is on vinyl. I think it's a later 80s reissue, but still a nice one at that. And then what could be my maybe best find of 2021, an OG UK pressing of Public Enemy's Yo Bum Rush the Show, their debut album from 1987. Yep, they did have an album before It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Is the album as good as that, or like it was as big as that? No, it was never that big, but I would put this lyrically, put this album up there with Fear of a Black Planet and It Takes a Nation of Millions. They don't play many of these songs out whenever they perform live, and when you talk about Public Enemy in this, none of these songs really get mentioned anymore, but it does have that typical 80s sound about it. Before they released It Takes a Nation of Millions and they shot into commercial success. But yeah, this is their debut on Def Jam. Really, really good album here from them. I love this album, and I know there's some hip hop people out there who love this album. Fear of a Black Planet is still my favorite one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. My favorite from Public Enemy, but I would easily put this album when it comes to Public Enemy. This makes the top 3 for sure, just because of how good it actually is. Everything else until a certain point is all from work, so I'll show you these first. Dolly Parton Greatest Hits. I love Dolly. This is a nice Greatest Hits, has all the songs on it that I don't have on vinyl yet, like I Was in the Stream, 9 to 5, her version of, her original version I should say, of I Will Always Love You. Great cheeky compilation there. I do like a bit of Dolly. Imagination in the Heat of the Night. I had this in my collection a while ago, but traded it in for something I really wanted. Only recently rediscovered how good this album actually is, so I finally have it back in the collection again. Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, United. I don't see their stuff around much, not their duet stuff. I see a lot of Marvin solo stuff. Never ever Tammy Terrell solo stuff, but never. This is the first like Marvin and Tammy duo album I found, so that's why this is a significant one to me. I think it's an 80s, or if not at least mid 70s reissue, but obviously originally from 1967. But wow, this album is just incredible. Love that album. The soundtrack, or the score I should say, to Rocky, one of my favourite films of all time. I have the soundtracks to 3 and 4. I wanted to try and get them all, so now I'm just missing 2. 5, to my knowledge, isn't on vinyl, and I know for sure Rocky Balboa, the 6th film, is definitely not on vinyl. So yeah, just one more and I'll have all the Rocky soundtracks I know for sure are on vinyl. But yeah, the first Rocky film, easily one of my favourite films of all time, so I had to pick up the soundtrack for that. Aretha Franklin, live at Fillmore West. The weird thing about this is it's a UK press, but the jacket is from the Canadian press. But it is on the Plum label. There's the gatefold, and if you look here, that's Ray Charles, and he does actually perform on this album. He performs "Spirit in the Dark" with Aretha on this album, so that's really nice. But yeah, there is the Plum Atlantic label. I prefer that Atlantic label. I don't know why, maybe because it's older, but I've always preferred the look of that label as well. So really nice to have some more Aretha in my collection. I don't get much Aretha stuff, and this is a nice, very welcome addition, so happy to have that. Speaking of Aretha, I do have one more of her albums to show. Jump to It from 82. This is when she moved to Arista. Or, well, this was when she had moved to Arista. I think she moved before this. But really underrated album from her, in my opinion. I think this is an incredible album. Oops. Nearly dropped it and whacked myself in the face with it. So we're going to leave that in, because I'm doing it in one take today. But yeah, Aretha's Jump to It. Produced, funny enough, which I never knew before I found this, it was produced by Luther Vandross. So really good Reefer album there. Still haven't seen the movie, but hopefully one day I will. Hopefully soon, because I know it's out there. Fear of Music, Talking Heads. This is actually a Portuguese pressing as it goes. I've been wanting to build my Talking Heads collection, and I think I've added 2 this year, which in my area is very good, considering you never see Talking Heads albums at all. So yeah, really nice welcome addition. The last album, I believe, produced by Eno. No, not the last one produced by Eno, but their 3rd album overall, I think. But yeah, 1980 is the year on this album. Sorry if I'm getting mixed up with my Talking Heads catalogue here, but I definitely know this album is a good one. And I mean, Talking Heads, I'm trying to see if Talking Heads have a bad album. Everyone has their favourite Talking Heads album. That's not mine, but I still I rate that one quite highly still. This is something I didn't find, but my boss did, and he knew I'd been looking for this artist, and so he said, if you give me what I paid for it, you can have it. And what I paid for is nothing compared to what they're selling for on Discogs. Like, if I told you how much I paid for this, would you would not believe me. But it is an original UK press of Peebles, straight from the heart. What an incredible album! This is her second album that I found in 2021. This is from 75 or 76, I believe. I should know this, really, considering I've been after her stuff for ages, but I did pick up her first album on Record Store Day when it came out. But yeah, this is an absolutely incredible album, and I'm so happy to not just own this album, but have a really, really clean copy of it. Like, I think there's only a couple of pops and crackles throughout the whole album. Sounds amazing, and I can't wait to add more Ann Peebles to my collection, because vocally she is one of my favorites, and you just never ever see her stuff ever. So this was a great find. Granted, it wasn't my find, but I'm grateful my boss found it. So there's that. Next album up, a copy of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I only really got into Elton a couple years ago when Rocket Man came out for the first time. That film made me a bigger fan of Elton. I think it was the way they used his music in the movie. But this album is really, really good. Not my favourite from Elton, but still a good one. And the good thing about this is the one that comes on yellow vinyl. This is the one I wanted. I was waiting for before adding it to my collection. I finally found it. Sounds good. Nice clean copy. And finally I found Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I know a lot of people will know this album, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But there is 1973's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Absolutely incredible album from Elton. One that is always in every top, no matter where I look. It's in the 1001 albums you must listen to before you die list. I see it in a lot of top 100 lists that I've seen. It's just that good of an album, and it's the one that everyone always goes for first when they think of Elton. But hopefully I can build my Elton collection in 2022 as well. I'd love that. Next up, from work, I had no intention at all of adding this to my collection. It weren't till my boss at work was playing it in the store, and I was like, actually, I quite like that. What is that? And he said, it's this. You can just take it if you want it. And it was Fear Fun by Father John Misty. I know, such a weird twist for me to have. It's a European pressing from 2012, but it's only the black vinyl edition, so it's not actually worth anything. But still cool to have it. Nice album to listen to. Really cool cover as well. I really like that album cover. But yeah, this is my introduction to Father John Misty. I might try and check out his other stuff. There's the gatefold, and I believe this has the poster and the lyrics, and the CD are all still intact. So really, really stoked to add this to my collection. I think it's a great album. I do think this is a really good album, and yeah, I'm super happy to add this to my collection. There it is, Fear Fun by Father John Misty. Incredible album there. I really like it anyway. Oops. Um, so yeah, I mean it's very folky, very chilled, and I've been getting into a lot of kind of folky and a bit more chilled stuff in 2021. So it was no surprise that Papa John Misty was an album that I discovered, but again, it was not on my radar at all. But a very welcome addition nonetheless. Um, I think everything else, yeah, has either been gifted or bought with my own money. These next two in particular, Listen Without Prejudice by George Michael. Not the best sounding pressing of this album. It's very, very crackly. Um, it is my favorite George Michael album though, so of course I had to have it on vinyl. But I will need an upgrade copy of this. I have it on CD, the deluxe box set as well. So I'll be keeping that until I can at least get an upgrade of this. I might even keep it past that, but yeah, Listen Without Prejudice. I finally have it on vinyl, original UK pressing from 1990. Like I said, it's my favourite George Michael album. It's just a shame that it's very crackly. So there it is. This next album I've had on my wish list for a very long time, and finally bit the bullet and bought it because my record shop 2 minutes down the road that way had it in stock, and I thought, yeah, I'd like to add that to my collection. Old Dirty Bastard, Return to the 36 Chambers, his debut solo album, and he only had two in his lifetime, unfortunately, but obviously this is the one everyone goes for, from 1995. This is the 2012 reissue, Rhino reissue, I believe. Yeah, manufactured by Rhino Entertainment. Very, very good album. Haven't listened to this yet, so I'm actually not sure what the vinyl sounds like, if the pressing is good or not. But I'm happy to own this either way. Really, really nice. Super happy to own this. I love the Wu-Tang solo stuff, maybe a lot more than their group stuff. Obviously not more than 36 Chambers, but a lot of the solo stuff. Everyone always has their favourite solo albums from Wu-Tang, and this is one that needs to be in that conversation more. Yeah, ODB. Fantastic album. So finally super happy to own this one and cannot wait to give it a proper listen to. Everything else is all gifts from this point, so let's get into it. Bob Seger, Beautiful Loser, good album. Dylan from Double Records also showed this on his Instagram, saying it was underrated. I do agree. I think this album is very underrated, from 1975. This is a Fame reissue from the 80s, but still good album to listen to. And yes, before you say anything, I did run out of sleeves for those two albums, which is why for that album and this one, which is why they're not in sleeves. But this is Melvin Moore's Burn album. I really like Melvin Moore's stuff. This is a gold stamp promo, but really, really cool to have this on vinyl on Epic. Yeah, just a good album from start to finish. 12-inch for Whitney Houston's You Give Good Love. But the reason I wanted this was because it's got Thinking About You on the flip side, which is my favourite Whitney Houston song. So happy to have that. Spandau Ballet, Journeys to Glory, their debut. I had the albums from their second up to their fifth album, I believe, but I was missing this one, and I'm obviously missing their sixth album. But this is very different to their later stuff. This is very different sounding. This has to cut a long story short, which is very good. 1981 year on this album, I believe, or is it 1980? I forget. But one of my favourite bands from the 80s. Love Spandau Ballet. Yeah, it is 81. So super happy to own their debut, and now I'm only missing one album of theirs, but it's super nice to own that album on vinyl. And Luther Vandross, Give Me the Reason. One I was missing from his catalogue. I'm actually missing quite a few of Luther's albums, but this is one I was surprised I didn't have yet, with obviously Give Me the Reason, the title track on it. And really didn't mean it, my favourite track on the album. Just a really, really incredible album, and of course it's got that Michael Jackson Thriller pose going on there. If you know the album cover for Thriller, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he's got that pose going on there. But funny enough, this album's from '86, so do you think he copied Michael? Who knows? But Luther Vandross, another favourite of mine. Shame what happened to Luther, because we could have had so many more albums from him. This next one is actually a bootleg, but this is K. Dot and J Rock. K. Dot, also known now as Kendrick Lamar. This is No Sleep Till NYC, their debut mixtape. What this is just Kendrick and J Rock rapping over old school hip hop beats. So you've got beats like You Know My Steez, you've got Soul, I believe, is used, or it's Follow the Leader that they use. You Know My Steez. They're just some of the instrumental beats that I can name, that I can remember, that are on here. But there's so many tracks. It's really hard to keep track. But what a mixtape to debut with. Yeah, it may not be their own beats, but their lyrical, their lyrics are on point here. So what an incredible mixtape there. From my boss at work, OG press of Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z. He knows I'm collecting Jay-Z stuff. This is such a good, original press. Love this album. It's got Can't Knock the Hustle, Brooklyn's Finest, Dead Presidents, The Evils, Can I Live? It's arguably Jay-Z's best album, and yet it's nice to have that. Out of all the Jay-Z stuff I have, it's nice to have an original pressing of his debut, at least. But obviously I didn't have it yet, because pressings of this are really pricey to get in nice condition. The cover is a bit ropey, and the album does have a couple of skips, but I do need to clean it properly. And the first disc does have a chip in it, but luckily the chip is not on the groove. I don't know how well you can see that. It's not on the groove, so it doesn't affect the play of the album. But yeah, what a debut from Jay-Z this was, and it still has the 10-inch inside of it as well. So nice album there. Really happy to own this Jay-Z album, because he is I will admit, he's one of my favourite rappers. Obviously some of his other albums are a little bit weaker, some of his albums are stronger, it just depends, but arguably this is his best album. Not in my opinion, I would put it in my top 2. There is one album of his I think is better, but that is still a fantastic album nonetheless. Shalimar and Night to Remember on 12-inch. Another gift here. Didn't have this on 12 yet. I believe I have this on 7, but didn't have this on 12, and it's one of my favourite songs from Shalimar. So had to have it. Another classic, well, I'd say classic hip-hop album here, but this isn't the artist's best album, but she is one of my favourite female rappers. It's Lil Kim, La Bella Mafia, from 2003, American pressing of this. it's got that not kind of early 2000s hip hop sound to it. So you guys know the sound that 50 Cent and people like that were producing back in those times. It's definitely got that kind of feel to it. Swizz Beatz featuring 50 Cent, as I mentioned, features. Havoc from Mobb Deep actually features. It's got loads of features on here. Full Force feature, Twister features, Missy Elliott, Styles P. Yeah, so many features on here, but Lil Kim is one of my favorite rappers, and so female rappers at least. So had to finally pick that. Super glad to finally have that one on vinyl. At least. Yes, Drama. Trying to get my Yes collection back up, so this was a nice surprise to add to the collection. 19, I believe this is 1980. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it is 1980. But really nice album there from them. It's obviously on the standard green and orange label. Haven't listened to it yet, so I have no idea if I like this Yes album or not, but it's still nice to add to my Yes collection. Can't go wrong with a bit of Yes. Next up, Jimi Hendrix Experience, Paris 67. Been really getting into Jimi Hendrix recently. This is the one that came out on Record Store Day, Black Friday. Finally added it to the collection. Obviously, the vinyl. I didn't pick it up on the day because I wasn't sure how it sounded. Then people gave it good reviews, and I was like, oh, I really wish I picked that up. Finally, my daughter bought it for me for Christmas. There's the hype sticker. I put it on the inner sleeve. The difference between this and the American pressing, ours comes on a kind of purpley kind of color, which is my favorite color, by the way. Purple. The American one, I believe, comes on blue vinyl. But it's nice to have that album. Like I said, I wanted to add more Jimi Hendrix to the collection. Been really getting into his stuff, and this was a nice, really cheeky addition for me. So there it is, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, live in Paris 67. Final thing I'm going to show, and this is a 30 plus minute video, but this is Maxwell Embryo, my favorite Maxwell album, from 2000, I believe, 1998, sorry. Whoops, I should have known that. But yeah, this is the 20th anniversary edition, so it comes on white vinyl. Like I said, it's my favorite Maxwell album. I got Now on Black Friday. I've been trying to get more Maxwell stuff since, but you just don't see his stuff at reasonable prices. This was a really super gift, and yeah, like I said, my favorite Maxwell album that I've listened to all the way through. So there is that one. So guys, thanks so much for tuning back into the video. I hope you enjoyed for what it's worth. And hopefully I will see you guys again very soon. Subscribe if you're new here, give this video a thumbs up, and yeah, I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.